Also backed with practical application. I've been doing this now for over a decade. I only had slightly more hair when I started. I've been bald for a long time, so I haven't lost a lot of hair over it. Actually, that would be a lie. But it's about building languages momentum. That's what, and it's following the 5 pillars. It's giving you a structure that you can take into your school tomorrow, and you can start looking at things clearly. I often find that when we worked with lots of coordinators, they can't. There's so much to do that you sometimes can't see the wood from the trees, the trees from the wood from the trees, one of those phrases. You can't see where your next step needs to be because there's so much and you're being told so much as well. So today's going to be about trying to just create a little bit of simplicity and guidance that you can follow and take some really actionable steps. So lots and lots to learn in today's session. Here we go. Chloe's going to come in as well. I know Chloe. So who am I? If you haven't met me before, I'm Will Lloyd. I'm one of the directors here at Primary Language Network. My mum, Janet Lloyd, set up the company 12 years ago. I am technically a qualified PE teacher. Shock horror. But I absolutely am an advocate for delivering and supporting schools and teachers to deliver high quality languages, irrelevant of their starting points. I work a lot with coordinators and head teachers, and I turn their curriculum from fragile to Ofsted ready. Okay, and that's following simple structures that everybody can deliver inside the school. And we believe, and I believe firmly, that too many children leave school, whether it be in primary or secondary, believing they can't learn a language. Especially in my generation, you get a lot of people that say, I wish I could speak a bit of Spanish, but I just don't think I can do it. It's just not my thing. I'm not a languages person. I always find the irony in that because they're speaking a language while saying they can't do language. Anyway, so my experience is 10 years with over 1,300 schools, and I see the same problems repeated and fixed. And I've seen what fragile looks like. I know how it feels like, and I know what it takes to fix it. We set 8 years ago, I remember driving down to London to do a whole school CPD. This was back when our scheme of work looked a lot different to what it looks like now. And I remember being absolutely grilled by a set of non-specialist teachers, and I was trying my absolute best to convince them that our scheme was right for them and it was a deliverable thing. And they just were like, we can't teach this. This is too complicated. This just isn't right for us. It's not the right fit. We've got so many other things to do. It's not prioritising the timetable. And I left. I remember the drive back in traffic, 5.5 hours, maybe even 6 hours to get back to where I live in South Manchester. And I spent that whole time just thinking, we need to change, we need to adapt. And ever since then, I've listened to coordinators, I've listened to people like yourself, and I've created solutions along with our team of specialists to make it work inside schools where it didn't work previously. So I've seen what fragile looks like. I've also known that our system wasn't right. And we've made adaptations, we've listened properly, and we've adapted to what education needs. And that lends into the next point of goodwill doesn't build a system, a structure does. So we're going to come, I'm sure a lot of you might have the words of our teachers want to do it, they just don't know how to do it, or I want to lead the subject properly but I don't know how to do it. And I learned Spanish later as an adult, so I kind of see it from a non-specialist perspective. Our team is built of a lot of specialist teachers, and I'm very much looking at it from a generalist, non-specialist lens. And I truly believe, because I know I've seen it, non-specialist teachers are very good languages teachers given the right support. Because they understand it, because they like to keep things simple, they follow the structure better often. And that's no slight on specialist teachers at all. If we could have a specialist teacher in every classroom, obviously we'd take that, but we can't. So we have to adapt. And developed PLN. I didn't build it, but I developed PLN because every school deserves a system, not just well-resourced ones. So let's crack on then. My first question to you guys, I don't want to speak to you the whole time, is why are you here, like in this session today? Because you could choose to carry on with languages as is right now. So I want to know your why. Like, why are you doing this? I'm doing this because I like to help people to fix stuff and make things simpler and easier to follow. I've always been that sort of person. I also have a real passion for making sure that kids get a breadth of subjects, and I don't want to see in 10 years time the primary curriculum just be maths maths, science, English, and a little bit of foundation. I think it's crucial that we protect our foundation subjects and we make them something to really sing and shout about and be proud of inside the classroom. I really, truly believe that's a real passion of mine. So why are you here today? What's your reason as to why you want languages improved, maybe made better, etc.? And feel free to write in the chat. If not, just have a think to yourself. But I'll read out some comments if you write them in the chat. I'll give you 30 seconds just to think to yourself. Why are you here? Have you just been selected as the languages lead and you're thinking, I've got no idea what to do? Maybe you regret not learning the language when you were a kid and you want to make sure kids get that opportunity too. Any reasons why? Let's see if there's any down here. I want to improve engagement across our staff in language teaching. So thanks, Sarah, for that comment. When people sign up for a free trial, we get people to write a comment. Why are you trying our resources? The number one word that's used, I track this, is confidence, and then it's consistency, and then it's engagement. They're the three things that we come up most with teachers: is confidence, consistency, and engagement. Okay, I'm here as there's no network meetings or training from the local authorities anymore, so it's nice to compare notes from other schools and also see if I'm doing it correct. Lovely, yeah. The sense of community is probably another word that could be added to that list that people said, Chloe. And thank you very much for that comment. And absolutely, it's an opportunity to share and comment as we go along. I will go a little quicker now, guys. I'll make sure we get through the slides nicely. But if you're still typing away, definitely type in there, guys. If not, don't worry about it. But it's important to have a good reason why. I'm bothered about languages being on the curriculum and not just on it, functioning and thriving, because it's absolutely crucial kids learn languages and get the opportunity to early enough so they can really develop in secondary school. So the research picture, I've actually done a whole literature review on research. And the kind of key findings these are the kind of key landmark findings I know, but 60% of schools struggle to recruit qualified language teachers. I think it's probably more than that now. That was 2024. I think that's gone up. 71% say finding enough curriculum time is a major challenge. And I personally think that's because it's a foundation subject and it's probably the least enjoyed foundation subject in most schools. So it's the first one to kind of be pushed out of the curriculum. Variable provision quality in virtually every Ofsted primary inspection. So there's a massive variance of quality. There's some doing it really well. There's some not doing it well at all. And from different perspectives, not everybody has that specialist teacher in the 1 hour. There are the schools doing it well with 30 minutes and non-specialist teachers once a week. And 2028 is the new curriculum. Just going to let this person in. And language provision faces fresh scrutiny. So we're expecting, by all the sounds of Bridgetson's report, we're expecting there to be an uptick in the focus on primary languages. It's definitely staying. That's a fantastic news, and I think there's going to be more scrutiny. So we're going to need to clue up a bit. We're going to need to improve ourselves, us, and also you guys in school as well. So let's look at what symptoms of failing primary languages is. Some are subtle, some are obvious. So I tried to list them for you. What I see when I first speak to schools, when they come to me and go, we need help, this is what's happening. These are the general signs. So if any of these ring true, write them in the chat as I say them to you today. The first key to being a good coordinator is to be honest and to know exactly where you are. And I have a really good tool for you that you can use for free to figure out where you are. It's nice to see some people joining in. So if any of these strike true, write them in the chat. So let's see. Some obvious ones is teachers skip or rush language lessons. No scheme, or nobody actually uses the scheme. So effectively no scheme. So you may have a scheme and it's just not being used. SLT can't say what children know by Key Stage 2. So there's a disconnect between yourself and SLT in terms of what progress is. Or there just isn't enough progress inside the school. Languages disappears when coordinator is absent. So maybe you notice you maybe been on maternity leave, or you've maybe been sick for a few weeks, or a week or two, or you've been on residential for whatever reason, or simply just had a break. You come back and nothing's happened. It's been dormant since you've been gone. And there's no CPD beyond the coordinator. So there's no actual training for the teachers beyond the coordinator. So they're more obvious signs. But the more subtle ones I prefer, because sometimes you're in decline and you don't realise it. The lessons are happening, but it feels like they're going through the motions. We haven't got kids that are excited. We've not got teachers that are engaged, that are ready, and we really wanted to go for it. They're sort of like, yeah, we're doing it, it's useful, but we're just getting it done because it's one of our lessons we've got to teach every week. Children can't recall vocab from last term, so there's no clear sign of retention. Retention is often a key sign of great engagement, so they go hand in hand, don't they? So if the kid can't recall any of the animals they've said, we're not expecting them to remember every animal. We teach 10 in our first stage, so we wouldn't expect every kid to know all 10, but we expect them to know five or six by the end of the 6 lessons. Only the coordinator can teach it confidently. So you're the only one, the only bastion in your school that's keeping languages going, and you can see it in the other teachers. They're not very confident. They're trying their best. Year 6 is having a panic attack because they've got to do conjugations after lunch. So we're really struggling for that staff confidence, that staff consistency, which go hand in hand again. Progress exists, but nobody can show it. So there will be... languages will be being taught throughout the year groups. Kids will be getting better, but you have no clear way of actually showing that progress, which is a real shame because that's where your kind of gold is. That's what you've got to be trying to really show off. Enthusiasm in year 3, indifference by year 6. It's a shame, isn't it? Because they come into your key stage 2 dead excited, really keen to get going with Spanish, French, German, Italian, whatever it is, and by year 6 they're like, I'm done with this, sir, miss. Why am I doing this? It's probably the worst question that we get at, when they come in. The year 6s are asking why instead of get in there. I never mentioned in assemblies or newsletters. So there's no real, this final bullet point here. So there's no real presence of languages, no celebration of languages. And all of this is research back. So Ofsted in 2021, the review said leaders and teachers are often uncertain what good primary languages provision looks like. That is a key issue, is that people don't actually know what good looks like. And if they don't know what good looks like, then they might not know what subtle fading signs look like either. So I wanted to be really clear of what not very good looks like. Now, if any of these ring a bell, write them in the chat now so I can see if I've got anything right there. So we've got Rian saying it's having the time to deliver. You can say 1 or 2 words of any of them, if any other things that strike to you right now, guys. It's having the time to deliver when half termly for Key Stage 2. So retention is difficult and trying to condense all into 3 half terms. Yeah, so if it's once every other half term, that is a real struggle. So definitely we've got to prioritise what happens in there and try and create some opportunity for retention in between those breaks. Rihanna, is definitely something you'll need to think of, and there is a solution, but it is a little trickier. So if any of those crop up, guys, no worries if not. So they're the biggest signs I see personally. Right, so mistakes made in trying to fix this. So you've probably noticed that things aren't going well, and mistakes that I see people make is first of all, no foundation first. And we'll talk about what stabilising the foundations is straight away, pretty much. It's the first pillar. But a lot of people jump to assessing what progress looks like, getting displays out, before they actually get the key foundations of what primary languages looks like in there. Too much too fast, too much too often. You try and do too much too soon. Just like Rianne there, she's teaching once every half term. Once every term, or 6 lessons every 12. Probably the simplest way of translating it. You might be trying to put too much in there. You might be trying to cram it a little bit too full when we want to be we want to be drawing it back a little bit, try and increase the opportunity for retention of less words, but increasing that retention to double the amount on less. So that's a perfect example potentially there for Rianne. CPD without structure. So you might get given an hour's long CPD and you just decide, I'm going to teach them how to do verbs in French today. So in isolation, it's great. It's like a Duolingo lesson, isn't it? But when we actually go to delivering them, how can they use that inside the classroom? It's all well and good them doing a bit of upskilling, but what are we doing? What can they do with that inside the classroom? Are there anything better that we can teach the teachers? Starting at the wrong point. And it kind of relates to too much too fast, and it also kind of relates to no foundation first. But we're looking here at the kids starting at the wrong point as well. Are they ready for it? Okay, are they ready for the point they're at? Just because they should be here doesn't mean just because like on paper they should be here, it doesn't mean in reality they should. Maybe they need to start a couple of steps back, because as soon as we lose momentum in the classroom of languages, it's gone. I can't do it anymore. I can't do it. It's too hard. And that's for the teachers, and that's the kids as well. One person holds it all, and there's no idea, no even concept of shared ownership. I'm not saying that you expect other teachers to lead languages. That's going to be your job. But instead, you want to hope that you don't carry it. There's a difference between leading and carrying. And we want to try and move away from that, you doing everything, you hand-holding everybody all the time to get stuff done, checking up on stuff all the time. You want to be able to start building a bit of trust and shared ownership over the responsibility. And also that final one is no honest audit. So many teachers that I see make fantastic progress. The first conversation with them they are brutally honest. They just go, Will, French isn't working. I don't know what to do. I need support as a coordinator. The teachers aren't confident. They're not happy with delivery. The kids I've done a student audit. The kids don't enjoy learning French. They'll just hit me with 5 or 6 points. And I know from that conversation that they're ready now to make the progress, because they're honest with it. Because when you're honest with it, when you do make progress, you're going to sing about it. You're going to shout about it. Absolutely. And I really like this study. It's a longitudinal study by Jekyll, Schurig and Ritter. And this is University of Oulu. Now, this is a longitudinal study, so it follows kids through their education. I put child A, child B, child C, etc. And they follows them and sees how their primary language's performance occurs, or their second language. This is in Germany. And essentially, the outcome is that an early start alone does not improve outcome. So just because they started learning English, maybe in Germany, when they were 7 years old, it doesn't mean by the time they get to 15 they've got a really good chance, compared to if they started when they were 9 years old. What's more important is the structure and the structural progression and the teaching quality. That's the determining factor. And once you've got that in play, then it's quantity. So just debunking that myth of we need to get them learning French in year reception. Not necessarily. If everything's in place, yes, absolutely, but not like that's not the fix all. It's not, we just haven't started early enough, we've missed the boat. No. With the right quality and with the right structure, lots can be achieved. I'm just going to have a look at the chats, and then we're going to move into the next phase. Yes, but so Rianne, I'm going to quickly answer that for you, but then how cover everything is a challenge. Yes, so there's such a thing as relative progress. So your school should, because you've got half the teaching time, you should be expected to make half the progress. Ofsted will be sympathetic with your situation. So you should feel confident to be able to reduce your curriculum down and justify it by the fact that you only have half the teaching time. Chloe, as a specialist teacher is left to you anyway, that's completely fine. So the other teachers almost don't need to know how to teach it, and they're too busy with the core subjects. Well, that's completely fine. If you're a specialist teacher delivering every lesson, fantastic. Okay, that's absolutely fantastic. And there'll be other things you can take from this session. And I think that's where you've done this next thing. So before you can fix it, you need to find it. I'm all about diagnosing. I'm all about figuring out where your issues are. I have created, if you just go to primarylanguages.network/diagnostic, I have created a free diagnostic tool that you can do. It's 25 questions. It'll take you about 5 minutes. You can do it as many times as you want through the year, and I'll tell you why that's important in a second. And it'll tell you which pillar you're struggling with. And what schools, I've only introduced this diagnostic this year after 10 years of figuring out what is important. And the key with this is that I want schools to return to do it. So they do the diagnostic now before they take action. Then they figure out where the weak points are. Then they take action, and then they return to it. 1 term, 2 term, 3 terms later, and they can show definitive objective progress. I've gone from 50% to 70% in 1 year. And I can show you, I can show you exactly from the breakdown where I've improved. So I'm big on the idea of don't just jump into it. Let's take a breath. Let's try and be objective. Let's look and see where we're at. Let's do the diagnostic, and then let's improve from there. So that's free for you to use. It's simple. primarylanguages.network/diagnostic. You can do it on your phone. You can do it on your computer. It takes you 5 minutes, and you'll get emailed your results on a nice PDF that you can download, and you can repeat a year later, a term later. It depends how intensely you're doing it. So just there for you as a nice freebie for you. If you want reminding of what that URL is, just ask me at the end. I know loads of schools have done that, so it's really nice to see all the things coming in, all the results coming in. So why order matters and why this is going to take just a bit of time. We're not going to, if you're thinking of building a house, we're not just going to start off with the roof. We're going to start with the foundations first, and we're going to build up. So we're looking at making sustainable change, which is going to take time, but that is also going to play into your favour as well, because we don't want to do everything at once. So this is why over the years I've developed a system called the Languages Momentum Method. We do this anyway, but I've just decided to actually label it so I can make it clear to people where we're trying to get them to. Lots of our schools that we work with achieve level 5 here, create a languages culture. That's the objective, but to get there you have to get the other 4 steps in play first, and every school I work with that are successful do. Number 1 is stabilising the foundations, which is all about coordinated strategy. Number 2 is building confident teaching for everybody that has to deliver it, and that's in CPD and that's with delivery as well. Step number 3 is learning how to assess and share responsibility. It's not all about you having, it's not all your job to make this work. And I think once you've got the first 2 steps in place, it makes it very much easier for the responsibility to be shared. If you ask initially, no one will want to do it. But once you get teacher buy-in, yeah, sure, I'll do the assessment, or I'll help out on the languages half day, or I'll do this, or, oh yeah, definitely we'll say hola in the register. Definitely, yeah, I'm loving for Spanish at the minute. So it's really important that we tackle these 5 steps in the right order. Showing progress, both strategic, child, student, whole school progress. That is step 4, and that leads into building that and creating a proper languages culture to be proud of. And it's all about, once you get to step 5, it's about maintaining it. And that's where coordinators, when they get there, it's about tweaking, it's about making small improvements. It's about, oh, we've got a change of staff, let's do another whole school CPD. Actually, I don't know the answer to this question. I might have a chat with somebody and figure it out and build from there. That's what step 5 looks like. Oh, I might need to update the display that we've got inside the school. Or actually, I want to do an assembly on language. We're going to chat to SLT about it. That's the dream. That's where we want to get you to. Lots of schools stay stuck because they try and do all 5 at once. So stage 1, stabilize the foundations. Ofsted in 2021 said leadership is the defining factor, not teaching confidence, in how successful primary languages is delivered. It's how well you lead it. Okay, and that's first of all being brutally honest. Do I know my role? These are all questions that I want you to think to yourself and be honest with yourself. Do you know your role? Are you honest about the gaps? Do you know your budget and time? And do I know the next steps in order to improve, in order to develop? So do you know your role? Do you know how to write a good action plan? Do you know what is expected of primary languages? Do you know how many attainment targets there are inside the DFE expectation of languages? Do you know the average amount of time delivered in schools? Do you know what is expected in terms of progress? What's like a gold standard year 6 kid going to look like if they get 4 good years of learning language? Okay, if you don't know the answers to these questions, then you don't know your role fully. And that's completely fine, by the way. It's absolutely fine. I've had teachers that are complete non-specialists produce outstanding results in their schools as a leader. They're just willing to take more training in CPD to develop themselves. Are you honest about gaps? I love it when a teacher will go to me, Will, we're really good at writing, we're really good at reading, but we don't do enough listening, we don't do enough speaking. Our year 6s are great, but they're just not that, their grammar isn't very good at the minute. They've not really got the hang of verbs. We've tried it, but it's not worked out. Our year 4 and 5 teachers are really confident, but our year 3 teacher doesn't like it. These are knowing what your gaps are across. So do you know, if you ask, do you know your gaps? Do you know your budget and time? Okay, how long can we get per year? How much do we have? Okay, I want to get class dictionaries. I'd like to get mini whiteboards. I'd like to get this. I know budgets are tight, but we need to know the budget in order to work with it. So being willing to have that conversation with SLT. And do I know the next steps? So action planning is really, really important as a coordinator. Not because it always will work. It's because it's, number one, the language of SLT. If you write a really formalised action plan, SLT are going to take you more seriously in terms of, can I have a little bit more budget? I just feel really stretched here. Or actually having cooperation with them. can I show you this? Can I show you this action plan I've got in place for Spanish over the next 2 years? I want to take it from here to there. Can I have a half an hour chat with you so we can talk about it? Once we get buy-in from your deputy, from your head teacher, once they understand that you're meaning it and you're serious, then you're going to actually start to make progress inside the school, because you're going to get the support from the SLT. Support isn't just financial, it's them being willing to sit in the whole school CPD with you, so you know all the teachers are going to focus and they're going to listen to what you're going to say. Because I know that, because I've run many whole school CPDs for schools virtually, and I know the ones where the head teacher's in the room, I notice an uptick in performance from the teachers. Doesn't mean I've not done good ones without a head teacher, but I just noticed that. So Alison at Medlock, her problem was she was using a scheme that no one really liked. She had no clear identity or vision as a coordinator. She was unclear on what her role actually required. She was not yet honest about the gaps in provision. She was working hard but without real direction. What helped Alison was we helped Alison see her role clearly, not judgment, just clarity. We wanted to get her to see the bigger picture. She looked honestly at what she had, her time, her budget support. She identified the genuine weaknesses in her current provision, and then we gave her the tools to make decisions grounded in reality, not just in her imagining issues. And then the outcome is she started to make the right changes. She started supporting teachers properly for the first time. She started tracking progress in a way that actually made sense. And she started building shared ownership across the school, and she made the foundation stable, and everyone else followed. So as soon as you, as the coordinator, start guiding the ship properly, then you'll start seeing proper progress. And this only takes a month. It doesn't take any longer than a month. You can jump on our developing leadership course. It's not much money at all to jump on that. You can go find resources, or go find on LIPS or Association for Language Learning, or jump on the Department for Education. So key questions for your school then, for you, just have to ask these honestly as I asked them. Do you truly understand your role as a coordinator? Are you honest about what is not working without defensiveness? Do you not feel yourself tighten up when you go, how's languages going? Do I know what budget and time I actually have? Do I have a clear vision of where I am taking the subject? Do I know what the next steps are and in what order? Do I know what I need to tackle next? Give yourself a ranking out of 10 in this one, guys. No judgment. 10 being you're the best. You feel like you're the best, which is, I'm very happy for you to say that. And 0 thinking you've just got no idea. So where do you fall on that scale of 0 to 10, guys? Give yourself a ranking. I'll give you 10 seconds to write in the chat a ranking. Where do you think you are in terms of step pillar 1? Stabilise the foundations, you as a coordinator. Where do you guys sit on this? We got 6s. Thanks, Nick, for putting the link to the diagnostic there. Really appreciate it. I probably should have done it myself. 5 from Sarah. Brilliant. So work in progress, but there's some good knowledge there. Maybe you've got a specialism in the subject. Absolutely fine. Fantastic. Right, so your actions then, in terms of if you feel like you've got work to do on stabilising the foundation, is first of all, complete the PLN diagnostic, because that'll give you the clear, honest picture. It's free to do, takes you 5 minutes. Write your current provision in 1 paragraph, okay? Just get a piece of paper, write it down. What does your provision look like currently? Make a very honest assessment. List actual resources, time, budget, support available. What do you have available? Do you have a teaching assistant? Do you have paper? Do you have an interactive whiteboard? What do you have? How much money do you have per year to spend? So we need to start getting this budgeted down on an Excel spreadsheet. Identify your 1 biggest weakness as a coordinator right now. It might be subject knowledge. It might be confidence. It might be your relationship with SLT regarding languages. Okay, lots of questions here. It could be your relationship with your teachers, confidence in teachers. Okay, lots of different things. Build a simple action plan, 3 priorities this term only. Okay, I have got a handout. I'll send an email to you guys afterwards with these broken down. So don't feel like you need to be scribbling down answers. I'll send you a handout, and I'll send you the slides as well. So if you want to work through any of these questions afterwards, go for it. Right, so that's step 1, stabilise the foundations. Right, step 2 is build confident, consistent teaching. Support for every teacher to deliver languages, not just specialists. And the Graham and Courtney Nuffield Foundation, Suzanne Graham is from the Deltea Project. Really great, really fantastic establishment. You should go check all their research. Courtney is a different researcher as well. But basically, the assimilation of their research is that teacher confidence is the strongest predictor of lesson quality. Well, isn't that obvious? But I just want you to know it's backed. It's teacher confidence. So here's some questions. Does teaching feel exciting or anxious across the school? Okay. Are lessons consistent across classes? So is there a difference between a year 5 teacher and a year 3 teacher in outcome? Okay. So is there a difference in their quality? And have they got enough support to bridge the quality? Are teachers dependent on me? Are they constantly asking me questions? Can you tell they're nervous when they teach? And do I have champions beyond myself? Can I go, no, I know Nikki's going to take over languages if I'm ever off. I know she can handle it herself. So just some questions there to provoke some thoughts and feelings. So in terms of Sadie at Cheetham Hill, not far from me actually, it's North Manchester way. Her problem is the staff had the will. They're a great set of young staff ready to go, but didn't have the confidence. The lessons were inconsistent class to class because of this, because it was the subject that would be passed on. It was the subject that we need to do inclusion. Great, I've got French coming up, although it was Spanish in her school. Teachers waiting for Sadie to direct them. She felt she was child-minding the teachers to deliver languages. Delivering because they had to, not because they felt capable or wanted to, because once we switch this around, they'll want to teach it. And root issue was not just the resources, it was their confidence inside the classroom. So what helped is identified confident teaching as the core problem. So the first thing is, it's not the fact they're not a specialist, it's the fact they're not confident. Brought in targeted in-class support. So they used our video to teach scheme of work to get the teachers to deliver it properly. They also booked in a whole school CPD with myself to demonstrate my CPDs are focusing on what the progress points are. Let's teach teachers what progress looks like, because then they can use that in every lesson. I know that my year 5 class, our progress point is extender words like and, but, and because, and conjugating verbs. So saying he plays, she plays, we play. That's what I'm focusing on. Are they doing that? Yes, great. Right, we're making progress. Do they need to know every single word? No. They just need to know the gist. Working alongside teachers, and we're talking about just delivering good, solid languages in this aspect with non-specialist teachers. Working alongside teachers, not in front of them. Okay, we're starting to understand their issues, having good conversations with them. What parts are you struggling with? Always feel like you can have a chat with me. And the aim is to build capability within, not dependency on Sadie. So the outcome of that is visible transformation in delivery. I mean, they've been using us now for 6 years and their progress is outstanding. They're very, very happy. Teachers, it's one of the easier foundation subjects to deliver. They use the team teacher, inside the native speaker on the screen. They deliver the lesson. It's a 5-minute video and that's just sorted for them. If you want to have a go at our video to teach scheme, just you can sign up for a free trial right now and you can have a go and see for yourself. There's a reason why it's won awards. Teachers no longer waited to be directed. Lessons felt consistent across classes. Children picked up on the energy shift. Okay, we all of a sudden built a school which loves language learning, and language champions emerging beyond Sadie. We've got people we can rely on. We want to share the ownership of this. Shouldn't just be you that should be passionate about languages. You know, a lot of non-specialists I've trained, the best ones often are the ones that are the most nervous. They ask the best questions to me. What about this? What about that? How do I say that again? Great. Okay, cool. I'll remember that. I'll teach them that way. And actually, they've got that. They sympathise with people that don't know better once they understand it themselves. So never ever alienate the non-specialist teachers, generalist teachers. So key questions for your school. Another Delta project here, in-class support and short burst CPD consistently outperform one-off training days. So don't just think the answer to this is just going, we'll do it at inset for 3 hours and we've got them that sorted. You're actually better off doing a little bit more bite size. And if possible, really good in-class support. That's why we've got our video to teach scheme. It's in-class support. So they've got that confidence. They can choose to deliver the lesson themselves, but equally, they've got the confidence there too. Let me just have a time check. Okay, about 10-15 minutes left, guys. Really appreciate you hanging around. So key questions. Does teaching feel exciting in my school? Are teachers dependent on me to tell them what to do? Are lessons consistent across all classes and year groups? Do I have language champions? Could a supply teacher use our scheme without support? That's a really good test, that. Could my HLTAs do it? That's a really good test. If they can't do it, it's probably too tricky. Actions. Run a staff confidence audit. If you haven't done, I'm sure all of you have, but if you haven't done it, do it, because once you improve it, you've got proof of progress. Identify 2 to 3 teachers to develop as language champions. Build a teacher toolkit. Simple stuff. Here's a few good lesson starters. Here's a few good lesson plenaries. Okay, here's some vocab maps to use in the classroom when they're doing the writing. Bring in class support. Video to Teach is fantastic. There's a reason why we built it. It works brilliantly. And then why not use show, demonstrate, film a model lesson so they understand what a good language lesson looks like. It's going to have a warm-up. It's going to have a learning element. It's going to have a game element. It's going to have a task element and maybe a plenary. So that's step 2 there. Right, we're going to jump through to step 3 now, and then we'll jump to step 3 because I don't want to keep you. I want to make sure I finish on time. So assess properly and share response. Actually, no, I am going to ask the question on ranking yourself on that previous 1 out of 10. What are you currently? So in terms of everybody that has to teach languages, what's the ranking out of 10? And then I'll move on to that whilst you're answering that. Keep you guys on your toes. So let's look at assessing properly and sharing responsibility. I'll read the answers out in a minute, guys, once I get through here. So do teachers feel confident assessing? Do children have tools to show their progress? And the University of Reading and the PIPL project identified that consistent assessment frameworks are largely absent in primary. So we're talking about that word consistent. I mean that assessment frameworks aren't used, are more directed at the consistency. We need nice, consistent, manageable assessment systems that don't overwhelm but do inform. So do teachers assess confidently in your school? Does assessment occur confidently? Is progress visible to anyone in school? Can children show their own progress? That's the magic one, isn't it? If we can get kids to show progress when someone comes in, and is assessment shared beyond me? So we've got other people that see assessment too. So Steve, now Steve Airley, he is HLT, passionate Spanish speaker. The assessment was sitting entirely with Steve. The teachers did not know what progress looked like. So that's a real issue. They don't know what progress looks like. There's no way of helping them. There's no consistent tracking across year groups. Children had no way to show their own learning, and languages was happening but invisible to everyone. So what helped Steve is that we introduced a simple framework anyone could use. So if whatever scheme you're using, you need simple questions for the kids to answer, repeatable. So I advise 1 question about reading, 1 question assessing listening, 1 question assessing writing, and 1 question assessing speaking over the topic they've just learned. They can be built. You can build them. I'm sure you can use AI to build them as well these days. We've got our own version. Puzzle it out. Topic, animals. Give me a reading question, a writing question, a listening question, a speaking question on this particular thing. Keep it nice and simple. Make it clear meeting criteria. Now we've got a clear framework for everyone to use. So teachers could now assess without needing Steve. That's really, really important. We need it simple enough that anybody can do it. So Steve doesn't have the burden. They can do it. They can moderate themselves. And and you haven't done this already, definitely create yourself a working display wall. This is one of the best ways of demonstrating progress. Steve, I always remember walking into his school, and the first thing he showed to me was the display wall, and he had the year groups along the y-axis, stage 1 to 4. Along the x-axis, he had autumn 1 through to summer 2, and he'd pick 3 pieces of work, 3 or 2 pieces of work, and he'd stick them every half term in the boxes that were available for each year group. So he could show me and go, look, well, my year 6s are doing this and my year 3s are doing that, and I can demonstrate that difference. And the teachers, they give me their favourite pieces of work, they share it along the kids. The kids are excited to be the one that gets on the wall. It's just a really brilliant way of assessing and showing progress at the same time. Key pupil work filled in across each cell across the year. So he picked the pupils. And assessment became something you could see. And what was really important about that is that it did become burdenous. We're not expecting you to do assessments and teachers to do assessments at the end of every half term, a summative assessment. A couple through the year is fantastic, but just in class stuff, recording where possible, creating a display progress wall like this. These are great shortcuts to it, guys. So don't just think you have to be. We want momentum. We don't want it to become this burdenous task for teachers. So The outcome of this is teachers began assessing independently and consistently because of the simple framework. Children tracking their own progress because they did self-assessments. At the end of every couple of lessons, they had their learning objectives down and they decided whether it's a green tick, an amber tick or a red tick, or a smiley, a flat face or an upset face. They decided to assess their outcomes and say, I'm working on it or I'm not there. Because of the display progress wall, because of the clear framework, SLT and visitors could understand that it was occurring. They could see that it was shared across the school. And it became visible. That's the most important thing with what we're trying to do here. And also notice that if we do steps 1 and 2 properly, step 3 becomes automatic. If we ask teachers to assess, do their assessments moderating initially, they won't do it. It's too much too soon. So don't think to yourself, if you're thinking to yourself right now, there's no way my teachers would assess or know how to, then you should be focusing on step 1 and 2, either getting yourself clued up, or step 2, which is making sure they're confident and having the right support system for them. Once you've got those two set up, then step 3 becomes a lot easier to enact. So it should always happen afterwards. Let me have a look. So Language Trends 2024 says that school with the strongest provision all involve all staff in assessment, not just a coordinator. So the schools that are performing best, all of the staff are doing assessments, and it doesn't have to be summative. It can be in class too, and that's why in my whole school CPDs, I train staff to see what progress looks like, progress indicators, so they can make assessments. Right. Key questions: do teachers feel confident assessing languages? Do children have tools to self-assess their own progress? Simple tools, smiley systems, colour systems, dead simple. We've used our Language Boosters games app available. So all Key Stage 2, they play weekly games. You can see as the coordinator and the teacher how they're doing on the weekly games. Easy way of assessing. We also have pupil workbooks. You can do printouts, etc. Pupil workbooks are really popular with our schools. Is assessment consistent across all year groups? Can progress be seen by anyone walking into the school? So of course in displays, we're talking progress from the kids, retention, lots of practice. So let's talk about step 3 here. Out of 10, where are you guys out of 10 right now with a sense of shared responsibility and the ability for teachers to assess properly? Where are you currently at in your school right now out of 10 with this one? How are we doing? I'm going to check on the chat for the first time. Lots of 6s and 5s, 8s. Yeah, Rianne, there's no harm in saying an 8 if you think it. Okay. Do you have any tips for making French visible if you are the specialist teacher without your own classroom? Definitely, yes. You can definitely ask SLT if you can have a display. Steve didn't have his own classroom. He was the HLTA who jumped around all the classrooms. He got a place on one of the walls and one of the corridors. And he said, look, because I don't have a classroom, I want to make it visible. Can I at least have a space? And he got probably an A3 size space, and wow, he made the most of it. So definitely asking if you can use some corridor space if possible, or actually asking one of the teachers themselves, can I actually take base a bit in the corner here? So, and that's where that shared responsibility comes in, Chloe. That's probably the area you need to work on, is actually building a bit of shared responsibility. I'm doing great stuff. Great, Sarah 3, 8, 4. Yeah, so it will go down because they feed into each other. Nick, I'll read yours out as well. Lots of CPD and staff meetings sharing what makes a successful language learner. Modelled and supported student teachers and HLTs have covered the sessions. It's taken a lot of time and effort. It does take a lot of time and effort. But the great thing is, Nick, once you get there, once you get to step 5, you maintain it. You've done the work. You've built the steps slowly. It's not about doing all... When you come away from this today, guys, there's going to be a lot of information. But I want you to just do the diagnostic and just go, I'm focusing on this step first. I'm going to nail it down and then I'm going to move on. I don't want you to think, oh my word, I've got so much to do. Think, no, what's my next step? So, show strategic progress is step number 4. It's my favourite step, this actually. Can I tell SLT the progress story? Is the system feeding me evidence? So is the system I created, can I sit back and watch progress occur? Or do I need to dive around and grab it? Am I tracking across multiple years? And where did we start? Where are we now? Okay, that's action planning. Where do we start? Where are we now? Can I show the progress? So just remember, guys, that progress is not just pupil progress, it's strategic progress. Like Nick said then in his comment, he's made strategic progress as a coordinator. He's done the CPD sessions, he's done that training for HLTAs, he's got assessments working. These are all steps along the way. If you can write them down over time, long term, great. And my best advice is, if you feel like you're already on the way, if you're halfway there, retrospective action planning. Say where you were. Because if Ofsted were to come in, you want to show to them and say to them, look, I've coordinated this subject fantastically. Ofsted said in 2021, schools with strong provision have clear long-term progression. They stop firefighting and start looking outwards a bit. Where do I want my year threes to be in year six? Not where, oh my word, my year sixes, they're not good. Don't worry about it. Give them the best you can this year. Give them good quality education where they should be at, but start thinking about your year threes and fours and thinking, where do I want them to be in year six? Because that's more realistic, and that's where Nick probably would have started looking himself as well. He's like, where do I want my year threes to be? Where do I want my year fours to be? Right, so this is Jack. Jack I've known a long time. He's a school in Crewe. The problem is he always cared about progress, but gathering scraps all the time. He was the one producing the progress. Individual assessments, a few photos, anecdotal notes, no narrative. Nothing showed where it had started, so he didn't create any action planning. SLT engagement was low, and lots of work for not a lot of outcome. So what helped is getting the first 3 pillars in place first. Progress appears when you've got you as the coordinator in the right direction, stabilising the foundations. Your teachers are confident in delivering consistently and good stuff. And you've got shared ownership and some form of assessment. Once those 3 pillars are in place, progress appears. You don't have to go scrounging around for it. It's in books, it's in workbooks, it's on the app, it's in recordings, it's on posters, on displays, it's everywhere. It's the kids are saying bonjour to you on the corridor. So the progress occurs once the first 3 pillars are there, and it takes time to get there. Stop chasing the evidence, it just starts collating it. It just comes. It happens. They just put it into the folder every half term. That's what it becomes. And built a before and after narrative SLT could follow. So he wrote retrospective action plans and started to build that narrative out. So he showed what amazing work he's done. The system produced evidence. Jack no longer had to hunt for it. Okay, that is not where we want to get to. We don't want to have to be diving around for it all the time. I want you to be in a place where year 5 come up to you and go, come have a look at this work that Kieran's done today. Have a look at this. Look what they said. He couldn't say anything at the start of the year. That's what we want to produce, don't we? So the outcome is that SLT could walk in you could walk into SLT and tell the story without the notes. You can describe what progress looks like. Our year 3s are doing nouns and useful phrases. Our year 6 are building sentences and paragraphs. They're using adjectives and describing how they feel. And so, as opposed to just saying I'm feeling good, they say I'm feeling good because it's sunny and I'm happy. Okay, so there's big differences there. Where it started, the steps that were taken, and where it is now. He created the narrative for himself, the journey that he's taken him on. I want you guys to be proud of your coordinating your subject. When you get there, I want you to be able to show it off. You deserve it, because you're probably coordinating the toughest subject. So if you succeed, you best shout about it. Okay, you best know SLT that you're doing a great job, and you best praise your teachers as well. SLT engaged in a way they had not before. Oh, actually, Ofsted are coming around. We might actually get them to look at Spanish, because I know that the other schools in my MAT and Trust, they don't like it that much. I know ours is pretty good now. When I chat to the other head teachers, actually, I realise our French is in a good place. So this is all about creating a system that's feeding, and it's all about those first 3 steps. So if you're thinking, well, how do we create this progress? It's about, first of all, stabilising the foundations, then building the teaching confidence and consistency, and then finding a way to properly assess without overwhelming. Okay, we're getting close to the end, guys. 5 minutes, I promise. So, key questions. Are you tracking progress across multiple years? Is there a clear progression line for your scheme of work? That's a big one. Can you share your progression in 30 seconds? Could you walk SLT through a progress narrative right now? Could you tell them what you've done? Do you have before and after data showing real growth? Staff audit, student audit. That's why if you get your ducks in order first, when you get to this point, you've got more things to show off. And is the system producing evidence, or are you chasing it? Okay, so what's your ranking out of 10 on that one, guys? We're going to move to the final pillar. Look at that as well. New curriculum for 2028, schools will need to demonstrate long-term strategic progression in languages. It's going to become a necessity. Step 5, here we go. Final step, guys. Thanks a lot for everybody for hanging on. It's the first time I've ran this session, so I'm sorry if I've probably ran on a little longer. So I really appreciate it. I'm going to finish in about 5 or 10 minutes. Right, so Language Trends 2024. Culture is the visible output of everything else working well. Okay, so that's everything else being the other 4 steps. Do children talk about languages with pride? Do they say it in the corridor? Does the whole school own it? Do I refine culture every year? Do I look at it and think, how can I improve this? Is languages visible beyond the classroom? School signage, governors asking about it, parents looking forward to seeing what their kid's going to teach them, what word they're going to learn. Kids, Key Stage 1 excited to go into Key Stage 2, you know, can't wait to learn it. Assemblies, languages half days, full days, lessons, language, you know, European Day of Languages, this sort of stuff. This is the culture. This is where we're trying to get schools to, and where we get schools to and keep them there. Because once you've got the other 4 steps in play, this sticks, and that's the best thing. So, Lauren Boone, the problem is she'd had 2 years of hard work, but no lasting culture. Moments of enthusiasm that didn't carry over. Languages that felt like just another subject, not talked about, not visible, not sustained. Launching culture, not building it. So they just think to themselves, well, I know, they do it the other way around. They go, Spanish isn't a big thing in our school. So let's do a languages half day and that'll launch languages. Instead of my approach, which is, well, let's get the other 4 steps in play and languages will be built. You don't need to plea for a languages half day at this point. If you've got the other 4 steps in play, you'll just ask. Actually, you might even get asked. They might go, Will, you've got 2 hours in summer 2. What do you want to do with it? And we're going to give you 400 quid. What would you like to do with your Spanish? You're like, what? So it changes. It's no longer you're asking. You start getting asked, and it's no longer launching. You're building it. You're building it, and it's there. So what helped is we waited before we really started focusing on this stuff. We waited until pillars 1 to 4 were properly in place. As Nick said, it takes time. Then made culture deliberate, not occasional. So then we started to implement stuff. Language ambassadors. We found one of the teachers to become your assistant. Just a fake assistant that's going to help out from here and there. We're going to have a languages word of the week. We're going to implement other languages opportunities, an after school club, a lunch club. Languages involved in assemblies. All this sort of stuff can come after the other 4 steps. An annual parent showcase. You know, you never know. There's loads of it. I've seen many schools do amazing things. And the whole point of this is that languages stop being the burden of Lauren. She leading it, she's not carrying it. Children talked about in the corridor, parents reinforced it, parents even SLT mentioned it in whole school communications, built by accumulation, not one big moment. It wasn't the languages half day you did at the start of the year, it was the 2 years of great coordinating that you've done. And she revisits it every year until she improve it. That's the beauty of it. Because you've sorted out the teaching and the assessment and the progress, because that's in place, then all of a sudden you can actually look at the fun stuff. How can we do a multilingual day, languages around the world sort of day, etc. Right, key questions. We're nearly finished, guys. Do children talk about languages with genuine excitement? Is languages visible in displays, halls and communications? Does the whole school own culture or just you? Would a visitor know languages matters without being told? And do you actively revisit and refine culture each year? So just remember, final note is culture is the reward for doing the first 4 pillars well, and it builds. It's not something that it's not something that happens first and then everything else occurs. You've got to build things in the right strategic way. So what's your first move with 2 minutes? Last 2 minutes, guys. You can't do everything at once, so pick your honest starting point. And you've got that diagnostic there. That's definitely your first starting point. And to probably start at pillar 1. Because none of you put 10 on the chat, at 10 for pillar 1. You should be starting with pillar 1. And then build from there. Go to pillar 2. Then start to look at pillar 4. Don't overwhelm yourself. If you want more help, guys, with this, I've given you the roadmap there. You've got the diagnostic. That's going to give you tools and advice for free to use it. And I'm going to send you a worksheet as well that you've got some tools to hopefully build some idea for building language momentum for you guys to do it free of charge. But if you want further help with us, you've got options as well. You've got our Premium Plus membership. This is moving at your own pace. And you've got yourself whole school CPD. You've got our video to teach scheme of work. You've got our Language Boosters Games app. You've got all the workbooks as well. You've got schemes of work ready for specialists and non-specialists, cross-curricular and seasonal opportunities. It's all there for you to move at your own pace with a diagnostic, a very reasonable price. But new to us is our Languages Momentum program, which is sorted. Basically, we take you on a fast-track approach to Ofsted Ready. You're going to have me as a mentor or Kate as a mentor, and we're going to take you through the 3 terms, and we're going to make sure you go through the pillars at the right pace, and you essentially establish yourself. By the end of summer 2, you'll be in that the pillar 5 mode. You'll have done all the 4 pillars correctly. We'll have made sure you got the right training at the right time, and we'll create this bespoke action plan for you so you can then show it, and you've got that as evidence as well future. But you've got they're the 2 best options we offer as a company. But you can do this by yourself absolutely as well, guys. But I want you to know that this is our bread and butter. This is what we do, and this is my passion. So I'm all about building primary languages to be proud of. That's what our company's about. Like I say, it's an hour. There's only so much I can teach you in an hour, guys, but I wanted to give you the roadmap. I wanted to show you where schools go from and to. That's genuine, like Nick. He's gone from pillar 1, he's reached pillar 5. There's that free diagnostic tool. It takes you 5 minutes. Have a go at that, guys. If you fancy booking a call to ask and inquire about anything we can help you out with, maybe the program or looking at our resources, just email me, will@primarylanguages.network. I'll stick around for 5 minutes if anyone wants to ask me any questions. I'm a very friendly person, and I like to help people out. But I hope this has been useful in giving you some ideas to where potentially the gaps are, and give you a clear picture on where potentially you want to go next. I'm going to stop the recording just so I've got a clean cut, and then I'm absolutely willing for